whips. Just as poached eggs isn't a poached egg unless it's been stolen from the woods in the dead of night. Row on, please. They passed a yellow door on which it said storeroom number 77. All the beans. Cocoa beans, coffee beans, jelly beans, and has-beans. Has-beans, cried Violet Beauregard. You're one yourself, said Mr. Wonka. There's no time for arguing. Press on, press on. But 5 seconds later, when a bright red door came into sight ahead, he suddenly waved the gold top cane in the air and shouted, "Stop the boat!" The inventing room, everlasting gobstoppers, and hair toffee. So yeah, very entertaining chapter of the book, in my opinion. It was also very entertaining in the movie. I'm not a big, as you'll know, not a very big fan of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. What's his name? Johnny Depp movie fan. I'm more of the Gene Wilder fan. Even though I know in the Gene Wilder movie the scene is different, it's more bizarre and it has none of that really in it. But I do enjoy that, movie a lot more than I do the Johnny Depp version. Let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and go maybe on a little bit of a tangent, I guess. And that's mainly dealing with Willy Wonka. He's weird. Let's just get it out there. He's very weird. There's really no area in this that I can really cover besides this. To me, Willy Wonka kind of comes across as sort of a slave owner or a slave worker type who punishes naughty kids. Don't believe me? He fires his entire working staff in the Wonka factories and replaces them all with non-paid Oompa Loompas to be his workers so that way they don't die and live there, but they do not get paid. So technically, they're unpaid workers, so maybe slave laborers. Don't know. Whatever. And he uses basically the golden tickets to punish a whole bunch of kids. As I was talking earlier about the psychology portion, and David G. Myers says in Psychology, the 8th edition, which is found at the St. Lucie West Library on the 2nd floor, he says that negative reinforcement strengthens a response by reducing or removing an adverse or undesirable stimulus. The unwanted actions in this case would be Augustus's, eating disorder, if you will, Violet's gum chewing, Veruca Salt's, obsession with wanting everything and being a brat, and Mike TV's obsession with TV. And he does that all technically for negative reinforcement, which is, okay, you do something, here's a result of it, and this will help, remove, the wrong stimulus. So, Augustus was trying to eat from the chocolate river. He falls into the river, and thus is now punished and being adversely affected by the fact that he's now being pretty much drowning in the chocolate river and being sucked up into a pipe that he may or may not be, suffocating in because of the force and not really having any air to breathe. You have Violet Beauregard, who is chewing gum and is turning into a giant blueberry, and now must be squeezed and pressed and de-juiced to try and save her. You have Violet that, is deemed a bad nut and gets shoved into the garbage chute, essentially. And then you have Mike TV, who's obsessed with TV so much that he ends up getting shrunk to be in a TV, and is pretty much now the size of an action figure. If that. I mean, to me, it's very much negative reinforcement. Let me see here. To me, the setting out before you get in the chocolate factory can be anywhere. And it really is sort of everywhere. Because, it's supposed to be the outside world, real life, and stuff like that. So, seeing these kids come from different places and stuff like that, it does make sense, and it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Once you get inside the factory, though, that's where it changes. It's kind of hard to do, Charlie and Chocolate Factory without the Chocolate Factory. You technically maybe could do it, but it wouldn't be as effective, because the only way I could see it being done would be, to use, multiple chocolate factories, and then you just kind of get lost, and it doesn't really work nearly as well. As far as Lawrence R. Sipes' comments on the highlighted paragraph that Miss April Von Kamp left for us, which goes, and I quote, "Those who argue that reading aloud is a waste of time are, in one sense, correct. As many researchers have observed, most reading aloud in classrooms is perfunctory at best and downright damaging at worst. To get the substantive talk and thoughtful literary interpretation we desire, teachers have to be serious and knowledgeable about literature and be able to foster the development of children's higher level literary interpretive skills. The teachers with whom I have chosen to work are decidedly not using read aloud time as a time filler or to settle children down as a means of teaching low level comprehensive skills. Nor are they controlling the discussion to the extent that reading aloud results in endless and boring initiation response evaluation chains. Meehan, 1979. These teachers are truly listen to children and entertain the possibility of multiple interpretations, viewing the talk as explanatory, to use Douglas Barnes' 1976 term, rather than final draft talk. To me, he's sort of right, in a sense. To me, you have to develop the characters and storylines and stuff like that, and you have to make it meaningful. That, I think, is a big problem with read alouds nowadays. Because yes, I do agree with the fact that read alouds can be at times used to try and settle kids down. I have seen it. I know that happens. If you use it effectively, you can make it where the children are learning something, and it's not just we're trying to get settled down and stuff like that. You can actually do this properly. You just need to know how. And I hope to be able to show that with my first part video that you've already seen. Technically, I'm going to be shooting that after this video. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully I'll have that good enough. But you can't be bland. You have to use your voice properly. You have to entertain the kids and stuff like that, and get them engaged in the work, even if it is just sitting there and reading, and or listening. And I guess that's really about it. If you have any other questions, comments, let me know. I'm Anthony Buchanan, and that's all, folks.